Live.
We're live, in which case I think we should start. So welcome to the Monday, August 7th Planning Commission meeting, Sykesville Planning Commission meeting, which will also include a public hearing on the Parkside extension. And the first item on the agenda is minutes for July the 5th. I assume everyone's had the chance to read those minutes. And do I have a motion to approve those minutes at this point?
I'll motion.
So Ted motions
to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, I think all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on. We don't have any county updates. So we'll move that off the agenda at this particular point and move on to the third item, which is the public hearing on the Parkside extension. And I'd like to start by asking Kevin to fill us in on anything that's happened in the last month or so as a staff report.
Yep, so everyone can hear me, right?
Yes.
All good. All right, cool. So as we know, Planning Commission is required to hold this public hearing when considering the preliminary plan and pattern book in the PEC zone. But prior to opening, staff just wanted to give a quick update regarding some of the information we've received since the July Planning Commission meeting, and then also allow the applicant to provide any updates as well. So quickly, any preliminary plan submitted in Sykesville is required to require some sort of review and approval from various agencies in the Carroll County government. So the county agencies review that plan to ensure all the requirements of each agency are being met. And then they prepare comment letters for the applicant, which either approve the plan or explain changes that need to be made before approval can be granted. And then they send copies of those letters to the town for reference. So over the last month, we've been receiving some of those comment letters. We've been reviewing those. And at this point, based on what we've seen, all the required updates in the county comment letters involve details that don't materially alter the preliminary plan from the perspective of the Planning Commission's review. So it's expected that the applicant is actively working with the county agencies to address any concerns in order to receive all the necessary approvals from those agencies. And once they do that, then the preliminary plan will be ready for Planning Commission approval. So again, over the last month, we've just been getting those letters from the county, reviewing them and making sure that nothing's going to change from the perspective of what we're looking at. And we can provide those letters to the Planning Commission upon request. But again, nothing in those letters is changing anything significant from the perspective of our review here. So that's where we're at with it. Jason, if you want to give an update from your side of anything that's changed or happened since the last Planning Commission meeting, that would be a good time to do so.
Nothing from the plan side has changed at all. This remains a 47 unit townhome development, 24-foot wide, per the zoning code, and that's. I have some updates later when you talk about the recommendation letter and that sort of thing, but I know this section is more for the public hearing.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was going to say if there's any questions or concerns from planning commissioners.
Not from me at this stage. Anyone else?
I've got one. This is the adequate public facilities part, correct, or open hearing? So
I'm just giving a quick update on basically the comments we've received from the county, from the different agencies in the county that are doing their review. Just letting you know that we've been receiving those letters, we've been reviewing them, and we're not going to bring the plan to Planning Commission for their final approval until all those county agency concerns have been addressed.
Okay,
got it. Thank you.
Yep. According to the agenda, there's talk about the preliminary plan and the pattern book. Jason, is there anything you want to add about the pattern book at this point?
From our initial submission, no, there's nothing that we've added to the pattern book. And so it really, maybe to elaborate on the last question, I think that the things that you would see looking at the plan right now that will adjust as we go through the county comment period is is probably most related to stormwater management and the location of those and how they look and those sorts of how they get graded in. Those calculations, and then those facilities we have probably the longest letter on, and that's what I would see are the main differences that you would see once we get the approvals or the recommendations to bring it to you guys for approval.
Okay. So we're in the public hearing part of this at this point, and I'm not sure, given that I'm looking at my phone from a powerless house with a storm lantern. I'm not sure if there are any other participants from the public who need to make questions or comments at this point. Joe, is there anything that we need to move on with at this point with public comment?
No, I do just want to say, just since we're streaming live, that the link was shared in the comment section of both our Facebook page and the YouTube channel. We did put out notice that this meeting had been moved to rather than in person to virtual. But a suggestion I would make is because we're not voting on this item tonight, it's really just the public hearing, is really ask the Planning Commission to extend the comment time until our next meeting. So basically just another 30 days so that in case there is somebody that did want to provide comment, we give everybody the opportunity to do that.
Okay. Do we need to vote on that?
I would, yes.
Okay. So bearing that in mind, I assume everyone heard that, and it seems a reasonable suggestion. I move that we extend the public comment period on this development for another 30 days from today to allow the public to comment. Do I have a seconder for that motion?
Second.
Okay, so that's seconded. And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So moving through that, there is no public comment at this point, but that's open for public comment for another 30 days. And Joe, I don't think there's anything else that we need to do in regards to the public hearing at this point. Are we free now to move on to the adequate public facilities certification?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So moving on in the agenda to the next item, which is the letter to certify adequate public facilities. And Kevin, if you want to give us a staff report on that to begin with.
Yeah, so just this is just going to be kind of a quick overview and reminder. So if we all remember, during the July meeting, the Planning Commission voted to recommend the Town Council finds the public facilities serving the proposed subdivision to be adequate. And Planning Commissioners also requested that our legal advisor draft a formal recommendation letter to be presented for ratification at this meeting, so that it can then be transmitted to the clerk of the Town Council. So the memorandum was attached to the packet. I believe it was sent to everyone in advance as well. So it's distributed to Planning Commission members for review prior to this meeting. And assuming no changes are requested, it is ready for approval at this time. But Planning Commission should definitely discuss any concerns or questions that they have, and then hold a vote on the ratification of the public facilities recommendation letter. And if they feel like it's ready to be approved for Town Council, there's a suggested motion in the staff report as well.
Okay, thanks for that. Is there anything that the developer, Jason, you want to add to that at this point?
Yes, in the letter, it does reference us reaching out to these schools. And so we did do that, and we spoke with Bill Kane, and he clarified that his letter recommends approval under the Carroll County Adequate Public Facilities Ordinance and the rates that are used in that code. He also shared that the Board of Education has a policy that they use as a planning tool, which is what he also shared, and they use that for their future, capital improvement decisions moving forward. And that was the distinction between the two rates that were offered in his letter.
Okay, that makes sense. Planning Commission members, any other comments to make about that letter, which I assume everyone got the chance to see? No?
One question.
Yeah, go ahead.
We talked a little bit about the residential component of this development, and it appears most of the adequate facilities are based around the residential component of this development. However, there are, at least as it stands today, future components with of a mixed-use variety. Do we know if we have adequate public facilities for those future uses as zoned currently?
So when we went through this, these recommendations are just for the residential component. If it comes to a point where another plan is submitted for the commercial or potential commercial development in those designated areas, then we will go through this process again for those for the commercial development. But this is just for residential.
Understand. I guess one of the concerns I have then is from just a road perspective. Do we have enough sizing on the roads? Because that will certainly, if not today, for a future commercial, that'll put any future development just absolutely gone at that point because of the cost to widen roads. That's, I guess, one of the maybe Jason can field that one.
I'd be sure. I'd like to, add there, we didn't specifically address any specific use, but anytime we looked at a possible use, our road capacity was adequate moving forward. I think you'd also in the last meeting talked about, sewer capacity and water capacity. We did talk to the county and discuss that. Water capacity far outstrips sewer. So sewer is the constraining facility, and the current plant runs 3.5 million gallons a day at a capacity level, and currently processes about 2.8 million gallons per day, which gives you the 600,000 gallons per day available to you. That is a very robust processing capacity given the development patterns of the Sykesville, Eldersburg area. He said you would have future capacity for a very long time. He's like, sure, at some point you will not if it's, if you're starting to talk about decades out, but certainly had no guarantees along that. He also did specifically say that Warfield has its own designation of sewer capacity outside of that 600,000 gallons that he's talking about for the remaining part of the drainage treatment area.
And is this development within the Warfield calculations or within the 600,000 excess capacity?
It's within the 600,000 excess capacity.
Thank you.
Okay. Steve, is that all?
I still have concerns. Again, police, fire, not so much as facility related.
Mm-hmm.
He's addressed certainly the water or sewer, I guess. Roads, I would hope that would be the case. So nobody would be potentially trying to rebuild roads down the road. But it just, as I was reading through the documents presented for here, it's one of those things that just kind of came into mind, and I wanted to take this opportunity to ask.
Okay, very good. Anything else from commission members regarding the letter of certification recommendation? So that being the case, Kevin, I don't have access to that motion. I think we're probably ready at this point to vote on a motion. If someone wants to move it, and Kevin, if you could read that motion or someone else could read that suggested motion, that would be a good start for us, I think.
Yeah, if any of the planning commissioners have a copy of the staff report in front of them, if they want to make the motion. If not, I can certainly read it aloud.
Okay. So I can start the motion by saying I move that, and Kevin, you're going to read into the record the motion.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So,
I move that this.
So the motion is to vote in favor of ratification of the adequate public facilities recommendation letter prepared by the legal advisor and to transmit the letter to the clerk of the town council.
Okay. Do I have a seconder for that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have Ted seconding the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Is that recorded as all in favor, or are there any nays?
Yep, I got it.
Okay, got it. Okay, so that being the case, I think we've moved that letter be moved to the town council. That recommendation be moved to the clerk of the town council, and we'll take it from there. And I think we're done with that particular agenda item. If anybody's got anything else, then please let me know.
Can we just clarify, Joe or Kevin, what the next step is?
So the next step now is this letter will be presented to town council, and council's next meeting on July 14th, they're going to be holding their public hearing. And their public hearing is about the adequate public facilities. So once they hold their public hearing on the 14th, then they will make their final determination on whether or not the facilities are adequate. If they say yes, then once the plan satisfies all the county comments, it'll come back before Planning Commission for final review and approval.
Okay.
What's the notice period for that next public hearing? Do you all put a notice up tomorrow, or how does that work?
It's a 15-day notice, and we have already started that notice process. So,
Thanks.
Okay. Anything else?
But we need to have Phil come by to sign that letter as well.
So I need to sign that?
Mm-hmm.
I'll stop by tomorrow and do that.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. I'll be there tomorrow morning at some point. Very good.
Okay.
Good.
we do have some quick town updates. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but
Yep,
whatever.
that's the next item agenda, so let's do that.
Okay. So yeah. So real quickly,
Yeah.
myself.
Jason was looking to say something, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. My
I would
apologies.
just like to add, because with no public comment this evening, I did hold, along with Jeff Yeager, a HOA meeting with the Parkside residents a couple of weeks ago. About half of the meeting was about, punch out items and finishing out of the community and those sorts of things. And the other half was about, we opened up, to answer questions about the enclave, and we shared the, preliminary plan and discussed their questions. And so there were about 35 people that showed up, and I would say that the questions were about half and half between the two projects.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So in a sense, there's already been a chance for public comment from your side on that plan.
We wanted to reach out to them and answer some questions that we could, and we always are. So that was and it provided a good opportunity, since we are trying to answer questions for the HOA on process of punch out and that sort of things as well. So.
Okay. Good. Just to remind everyone that 30-day extension for public comment from today, and if anyone has any comments or issues with it, please let us know. Okay, Kevin, anything else?
Yeah, just two quick town updates. So first, myself, Joe, and Jana, we met with some representatives from the Carroll County Planning and Development Review Departments, and we did that to discuss our upcoming zoning code rewrite. And that was just sort of in an attempt to better align ourselves with them as we start to move forward. So that was really one of the first steps in that process, and now we really hope to really start digging into that rewrite. So obviously, as we start getting further down the line in that process, you guys will be looped in. But just wanted to say we've kind of taken that first big step. We've met with the county, we've discussed things with them, and it was very productive. So that was good. And then the other one, I have been having some discussions lately with some representatives from the Schoolhouse Overlook property. If you guys recall, that's that 5-unit subdivision off of Schoolhouse Road. And currently they are working through this similar process. They're going through all the county comment letters and trying to address all the county concerns with their preliminary plan. And then they're also trying to figure out their water supply issue that I know we've discussed several times. And so once they work through all that, they're hoping to have something before Planning Commission here in the relatively near future. So that is a project that I know you guys haven't heard anything about in a while, but I've been talking to their representatives, and it is moving along, and hopefully they'll have something before you guys before too long.
Okay.
So
Is the plan for that last project, Kevin, for them to dig wells, or have they not figured that out yet?
So it sounds like that's what they're going to go with is wells. That they seem to be set on that. So they need to go through the process of requesting removal from the county master plan, water master plan. But it does sound like for whatever reason, they've decided that they are going to go with private wells for each unit.
And is there an assessment of, I don't know how you do an assessment, and I know we've talked about it briefly before, but I don't know what the assessment is for determining how that's going to impact other people that have wells in the general community.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how we would do that assessment either. I guess they're hiring their own engineers to go out and do perk tests, and I don't know if it's included in that perk test that they do a water table study of the area or not. I'm just not sure.
Okay, so that's going to be I mean, since you're talking to them, that's going to be a question that obviously some of us will raise. I know I
Yep.
will raise. There was a neighbor, so I have a well, just so you know. One of my neighbors, I believe, has a well, and one of my neighbors was talking about any water issues going on as a result of the drought. Put the comment out on Facebook and was asking the community in reference to it. Now, not a lot of people have wells in the Sykesville town, I don't think. I don't know the number that we have, but that's obviously a concern area.
Yeah, I'll be sure. You know, as I keep talking to them, I'll be sure to bring that point up to them and let them know that that is a concern that some folks might have, just so it's on their mind and maybe they can provide us an answer.
Thank you.
Are there any updates on the Joy property, Kevin, or is that still ongoing?
That's still ongoing. Nothing since, I'm not sure what the last update I gave you guys was, but we can just as a reminder, essentially, they had sent us an email to confirm a few things, and this was, I don't know, probably over a month ago at this point. We told them, everything looks good, and they said that they're ready to make their formal submittal, but we haven't heard anything from them since. So it might be a time for me to maybe reach back out and touch base with them again. We were hoping to get something soon, but we haven't heard anything yet. So I can reach out to them and touch base and see where they're at with that.
Thank you. So nothing else on town updates?
Nope, that's it.
No, Joe, anything that you need to add to any of that?
No, I think Kevin covered it all.
Okay, so in that case, we're at the bottom of the agenda and we're pretty much ready to go. Any other comments or issues from any other commission members? No. Jason, are we good to go?
Yes, thank you for your time this
Okay,
evening.
very good. All right, thanks for that. So that being the case, then I think it's time that I move that we adjourn this meeting. Do I have a seconder?
Second.
Steve seconds it, and all in favor?
Aye.
All right, good to go. All right. Well, thanks for coming, folks. Slightly straitened circumstances. I hope you all have power, and I will come in and I will deal with that signature tomorrow morning. And I think we're good to go. Thank you.
Stay safe, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Thank
Bye
you,
now.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Good night.
Good night.